Hey everybody, just gonna hop on, kind of bored, honestly, with the fact that it's, Christmas Eve and want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, but kind of been so busy with work lately that coming to a stop's been a challenge today, and I got all my wrapping done, fingers crossed, everything's done. Everything's ready for tomorrow, so I figured I'd tie and bring you guys along with me, see if anybody wants to hop on and hang out. So I'll be a little slow getting going. But pretty much I'm going to start out, I think I'm going to tie up some soft hackles today. Might do the usual, it's sort of the thoughts that I'm having. Not 100% sure what I'm going to do. But yeah, and if anybody can tell me like if my audio is weird or anything, like I am playing around with some stuff today because, hey, we're not an official live stream. I can actually kind of have some fun. So, looks like I got somebody watching, so I guess I will get going. I'm going to tie up, I think I'm going to do, oh, hey, it's Brian, shocker. Brian, you knew I was doing this. So, I'm going to tie up in orange and brown. So, hey Andy, what's going on, dude? How's school? But I'm going to tie up nice little simple soft hackle. Tie it up in my favorite size for soft hackles, which is a 12. But just gonna have some fun. Soft hackles are one of my favorite things to tie, and one of my favorite things to fish for trout whenever I can. I love tying them because they're simple. I love fishing them because it's simple. So really, the whole point of this fly to start with is putting down a nice little thread base, and apparently snapping your thread. You graduated, Andy. Oh man, are you old enough to graduate? I only say that because I remember, you being like 12. So congratulations. But yeah, so yeah, I just popped my thread. I gotta retie on. This was supposed to be 6/0. It feels more like 8/0. I'm not gonna complain. I was looking for a thinner thread, so. And I haven't been tying a lot lately, so popping on bend of the hook or point of the hook is not a shock. But I'm going to tie it up. Typically this guy is tied up with a partridge, not uncommon. I'm actually going to tie up with a hen hackle. Because I'm trying out that, I don't know if you all have seen it, the whiting, what is it, W4 or whatever it is, hen hackles. Trying them out, I'm not sure if I really like them. Are you guys getting a lot of rain up that way? Because we just started getting rain here in Richmond, so. Tie in at the tip. Oop, you know what? I just realized I'm not tying a kabari. I'm tying that backwards. Can anyone tell what I have been tying lately? Not going well today. But hey, that's the fun of live streams. It isn't, Brian? Okay, I'll fix it. Is that better? Could actually be that I've got too much light on it. Let's knock down that f-stop a little bit. That looks a lot better. I actually might have been blowing everything out. Yeah, I'm not going to have the other cool one, Brian, that I wanted to do today. I'm not liking this hackle. Has anyone else played around with this stuff? With this whiting hackle? Alright, and that's why I'm doing this. Let me get this hackle tied off and I'll fix some stuff. Get another wrap in there. One more wrap around the hackle. Two more. Well, it is a waxed thread, so that would help make it look a little waxy, but I get what you're saying. So, we're not in focus. It looks in focus on my screen. But let's turn up that light's all the way up. You know, I never did. That's not making any difference. Okay. That is way out of focus. Yeah, see, and this is the reason why I wanted to do this. Starting to wonder if my screen is out of focus, guys. Well, let me just quick finish this guy up. Simple little soft hackle. Little brown and orange. So, one of my favorite things to fish this time of year whenever I can, because they're so simple. There we go, Brian. Now it's f5.6, which happens to be our favorite f-stop, apparently. Yeah, you know, it's more like I just need to go to a crop sensor camera, Brian, so that I'm not taking in as much light. You know, that's why. I've got a crop sensor. That's the picture I sent you earlier was of my crop sensor camera. But nope, it's a full frame issue, Brian. That's what the problem is. It's a full frame sensor issue. The other thing I think I'm going to do is let me throw in a bigger fly to be able to really see on. Yeah, no, I'm not going to. Not going to do that, Brian. We know that. There we go. That should be better. All the threads are in focus. It's a good test kabari. Streamer. I actually don't have anything for a streamer sitting next to me right now. Let's see, what do I got? I'll tie up a small streamer for you guys. Since Brian's saying I need to tie up a streamer, I will tie up a streamer. I'm going to tie up a streamer my way. Oh, there goes one bead. Yeah, Brian, if you're at 144p, what is 144p? I don't remember what that was like. 144p was before my time on the internet. Let's see here. What else do I got? Oh, I'll use brown thread for this. I'm in a kind of a brown kind of a mood today, apparently. You can tell I'm not prepared for this, guys. I literally was just sitting around and kind of like, yeah, you know, thought about the other day I might do something today. Decided I was going to do it. That's the biggest hook I got on me right now is a size 8. Needless to say, I was not really thinking about tying up anything big today. I'm going to make this one up as I go, so you guys are literally just going to see me freestyle a fly. It's tied, I think, on a dry fly hook, to be honest. It might be a nymph hook. What hook did I grab? Yeah, it's a nymph hook. You know, those streamers being tied on nymph hooks, that's a normal thing, isn't it? Put down a nice little thread base. Grab a piece of copper wire. Put the copper wire off to the side. Gonna grab a partridge feather to use for the tail. Oh yeah, no, I mean I tie small streamers. And I actually got a little reminder today of a pattern I used to fish. Ooh, I don't like the way that tail looks. Old one that I used to love fishing was a jig woolly bugger. And yeah, that would be, that's kind of, I have been thinking about doing some of those again because I haven't done them in a while. Okay, let's see here. Now we're going to grab some dubbing. So we're going to dub the body, but we're going to do a, yeah, I've got a dubbing that I like. Time for some fun. I don't know how well this is going to show up on the camera, but I will do my best. Make a dubbing loop. You know, I grabbed, there it is. I had actually grabbed, for today, good old dubbing wax. Not something that we really talk a lot about in fly tying these days, but this stuff is awesome to have on hand. Oop, that is far too much. Just a wee bit of it on your thread. Half of it ends up on your hands. Nice thing about this dubbing wax, guys, it's honestly like $2 for a, $2 or $3 for a thing of it, and it'll last you just about forever. So I'm actually going to do a dubbing loop for a body. Now Andy and Brian, they're probably used to doing this. This is actually one of my favorite ways to put dubbing on. I'm going to use some good old just hair's ice dubbing. Yeah, I don't have his wax, the wax that he uses, Brian. So, I don't know if you guys can see this. I literally just put it in. And what I've got is I've literally just created a loop with my line, tied it in, and then I've just kind of put some dubbing in there. And what I'm just going to do is I'm going to spin it. There's better ways of doing this. I don't have my dubbing spinner with me. So I'm literally going to have to do this so I'm doing this with my whip finishing tool. Put a lot of spins in there. Oop, just came out. This might not be the right tool for this. Not the right tool. Just gonna have to do it by hand. But what you create, when you get it right, if you look, it's this kind of fluffed up stuff. Then you can just take it, wrap it onto the hook. What you get is a kind of a fatter body with your dubbing. And I'm actually going to tease this out a little bit. This is a little bit too fat in my opinion. Tie off your dubbing loop. Give it a trim. Throw away your excess. Make sure it's down. And then I'm going to just take some wire, wrap it in, help protect it a little bit. Helicopter off. That is a trick right there that when I learned it, I thought it was a life changer, was to helicopter my wire off. So that kind of created a fat little body. So, what do I want to use up front? I got a bunch of feathers around me. I got some other stuff that will come out later. Let's see what I got on this quail skin. Maybe do a little bit of quail. As I throw my hackle pliers across the fly tying desk, also my work desk. Yeah, everyone see that? Quail doesn't work. Let's do a hair wing for quail. Or not a hair wing, a feather wing with the quail. Oop, too far. I need to rotate it around. Yeah, I want it upside down. This thing's going to be ugly, but hey, Brian asked for a streamer. I'm tying something that looks like a streamer. You know what? There we go. And probably another quail feather to create that illusion. I can tell you this fly probably will never get fished. That looks a lot better. Kind of a little wet fly-y like thing. I'm going to use a little bit of dark dubbing up in the front because I kind of feel like it. Yeah, I'm going to try today using more dubbing wax than I normally do, which is by using any. Yeah, dubbing wax does make life a whole lot easier to dub with. There we go. So, freestyled, literally just grabbed materials. It was supposed to be a streamer, but honestly, that's a little wet fly. Yeah, it's just a big kind of mayfly thing that, honestly, you swing it across the river, you might be able to catch something. I don't know. Hey Andy, I'm going to send this up to you. You got to fish it on a mossy, okay? That's going to have to be the rule. So, now, let's tie up, like I said guys, I'm going to be tying up kind of random stuff today. Actually let's do another soft tackle because I'm kind of needing to fill up my box on those right now. I looked at my soft tackle box the other day and realized I'm getting low. And I love fishing soft tackles. Got one particular stream I actually was planning on going to this week, and unfortunately, work stuff got in the way. But was planning on going. Yeah, well, Andy, you can tie your own soft tackles. Come on, man. Those things are the easiest flies. You tied a more difficult fly, much more difficult fly when you did our live stream for us, which again, thank you. My vacation did enjoy that. So, but getting back, I was actually supposed to head up, fish fun little stream that doesn't get a lot of press in the Charlottesville area, which always shocked me. But Buffalo Creek up by Lexington. Always had a good time out there. It's a special regulations water. You do have to have a permit for it, kind of like Mossy, kind of like the South River. So it's, it's a more, it's a nice little stream. Supposed to be a spring creek, but I've never felt like it was a spring creek whenever I fished it. It always felt more like a freestone. Felt a lot like Suzy Q, to be honest. So, as Brian Trow would call it, a freestoner. Always felt like that whenever I fished it. So, which is not a bad thing. It's an awesome little stream right outside of Lexington, so like an hour or so from Charlottesville. So super quick to get to. And just great place to go fish. For me, it's honestly right at 2 hours. So it's perfectly within, a quick drive range. Yeah, like I said, unfortunately work stuff got in the way. That having to be able to make money thing, that always gets in the way of having fun. See if I can do this without breaking it again. And like I said, this is actually, I'm trying a new soft hackle material. I've tied with hen necks before. Never tied with these whiting ones that I've been reading rave reviews about lately. There they went. I need my hackle pliers. You know, people were saying that, you know, it's like tying with partridge. It's got, you know, similar colors and everything. Well, not seeing the partridge, but I did get the brown, not the gray. But that said, it is a really nice saddle hackle. A really nice neck. I mean, for like 10 bucks. Whereas a partridge skin is like 40. So, it's everywhere I'm finding them lately. Why do I feel like Andy is going to give me something near impossible to tie? I'm not doing a Christmas tree. Sorry. Brian did that already, by the way. But, so, everyone other than Andy and Brian, see why I love tying soft hackles? They're quick. I can fill a box with them. And this is a, well, it's called should be a brown and orange. I'll tie up two in olive also. You change out threads. Yeah. Use some crazy heavy duty stuff. Oh, by the way, Brian, I did contemplate today tying up a hot glue egg, and I decided no, I'm not doing that. Anybody who wants to learn how to tie a hot glue egg, just go into the thing and tie them. You never caught anything on them, Brian? Oh man, we got to get you on. You got to be on the right water to catch fish on soft hackles. I will say that. Freestone streams is not the place to do it. You kind of need those slower, not really slower, but yeah, a little bit slower, bigger pool streams to really be able to fish them well. One of the best places I've ever seen to practice soft hackles and learn is if you're ever at Rose River Farm. There are a couple pools in there. The one that's right at the gazebo, right below the gazebo, is absolutely epic for throwing soft hackles. Just to practice it and learn it. I learned a lot of how to fish them actually from Ken. If anybody remembers Ken, that's what he does. He fishes soft hackles. This is a guy who has fished everything everywhere, and you put him onto a trout stream, he will just fish soft hackles. And when he told me that, I thought he was crazy because, you know, well, really only soft hackles? Then I started fishing them and I realized what he was talking about. Ken really doesn't know what he's talking about. So, and actually a fly I'm going to tie up a little bit later, Ken taught me how to tie several years ago. It's kind of got a cool little story with it. So, and if one thing you guys notice that I'm doing, I'm trying to strip all the webbies off. Like this one I haven't quite done it yet. You don't want to use those webbies in a soft hackle. Then I turn around, tying it at the tip, Yeah, I am missing a screw. That is the tensioning screw that I never used. It kept coming out on me. I never use it. The cool thing is, back behind here on the Renzetti, there's two tensioning screws that you can use. I keep those locked at where I like it. I'm very particular on my vise, on how I use it. I know it kind of seems a little weird, but also you guys got to think about this vise, I realized, is 23 years old or so. It's something like that. It's like 20 some years old. This vise has been through a lot, and I am looking to upgrade it at some point, but I can't find anything I like. Honestly, every single vise I look at, I go, ooh, I like that part, but I don't like that part. Kind of being particular about my vise, I know. But yeah, this vise has been, that screw has been missing, I think, probably for 10 years or so. I've been missing that screw. So, you know, I've been missing it for long enough that I can get one. They're like $3, $3 or $4, I think, from Renzetti. But I'm not missing it. I don't hang materials on it. I don't, you know, I don't do anything like that. Oop, tied that in upside down. Oh well, we're gonna make it work. So, when you're watching me do this, realize I'm doing this about a third of the way back, and then I'm stroking all the materials back. I'm only trying to do about 2 wraps or so of the soft tackle, and then I'm kind of having to, kind of gets fun trying to get your fingers through there. There we go. So one of the beauties of these things is you can't just crack them off. So, you'll say this is going to be called a brown and orange. Or, not brown and orange, olive and brown. Soft tackles are one of the easiest flies also to name. It's really simple. You basically use the color of your thread and the name of the material that you used. So, I mean, that's truly about as hard as soft tackles are. But to fish them, for those who don't know how to fish these things, what you do is you find yourself a big pool, you know, preferably not super slow moving, but fairly slow moving, because these don't have any weight on them. And you cast it quarter downstream. And then you basically throw a couple upstream mends to let that fly drop down into the water and sink a little bit. Throw a little split shot on. These are going to be unweighted. These are typically my top flies when I'm fishing soft tackles. So a lot of times I'll fish soft tackles in 2 flies. I'll fish a top fly like this. Then a bottom fly is actually going to be a bead head, usually bigger, and typically I tie them on a jig. So I got a tungsten bead. But basically you're just going to go ahead and throw it, quarter it downstream, let it drift across the river. You know, we always talk about we don't want any drag on our fly, don't want any drag on our fly. Hey, here's a technique we get to use our drag. Get to use the drag on the fly. Cool thing is, when a fish hits, you know it, for one. 2, most of the time they hook themselves. You really don't have to set the hook. Pick up the rod tip, which is what you should do. But that's really all it is. It's really simple. When they hit the fly, they don't hit it lightly. The other thing is that when you get to the bottom of your drift, if you haven't caught anything, slowly pick up your rod tip. And what that'll cause the fly to do, let me grab a fly and what it'll cause the fly to do is this. It shoots up into the water. You know, kind of as it's coming across, it's going to shoot up into the water. Well, what that looks like is a nymph heading for the surface to break free and to be able to be used, you know, basically be able to get free and go become an adult. Well, that's an easy time for a trout to eat it, so they'll go after it then. That's one of the reasons why I love buffalo is it's got some awesome pools for that, and it's just fun. You know, their typical fish in that river are going to be 12 inches. There are some big ones in there. A buddy of mine 2 years ago blew up a one weight on a probably 24-inch fish. Why he brought a one weight, I'm still working on, because we knew there were big fish in that river. So, one of those situations, just because you're catching small fish typically, but they're big fish, doesn't mean you should be prepared only for the small fish. It's kind of like fishing Mossy. I don't ever go to Mossy with a lightweight rod. I'm always ready to hang one of the big 24s. Andy on the other hand probably goes because he knows where every big 24 is, so he doesn't even, if he doesn't want to catch them, he doesn't fish for them. Strip off the lower fuzzies. Now you could save these fuzzies, I bet, for using like as a dubbing material. I don't think that I would. But with that whole split dubbing thing, I bet you probably could. I just don't see a whole lot of need. So, a little bit of spit, to be honest, to help push that material back. This one's going to need a little bit more because it just didn't do a whole lot. That one might have a little bit too much hackle on it. Oh well, you know what, it's fine. It'll still catch fish. In worst case, I'll go throw it to bluegill. Bluegill loves soft hackles. So, but these things are basic little flies. Reason why I don't teach, reason why I never really kind of planned on doing it for a proper live stream is, having the materials, and honestly, it's so easy and so fast, it's just not a good live stream fly. It's a good one for days like today. Just hanging out and popping out a couple of flies. Getting your fly box re-rigged up, getting it ready for whenever you get a chance. So I think I'm going to tie up something different. I haven't tied one in a while, guys. Next thing I'm going to tie, I have not tied in a long while. So bear with me. Might mess some things up. Got to pull out some materials. But this one, Ken taught me. So, cool story. This is a pattern developed by the late great Fran Betters. Fran Betters was kind of the Chuck Craft of, was kind of like a Chuck Craft, but up in the Catskills of New York. So some of the cool flies that, we know of and we think about, things, comparadons. That's a Fran Betters pattern, inspired pattern kind of. He did do the initial design work on it. The Ausable series, anything from the Ausable Bomber, the Ausable Wolf. So I'm going to tie up the Usual. So cool story about the Usual. This is the predecessor to the Comparadon and the Sparkledon. This is the fly that Fran initially tied. It's absolutely deadly. And Ken actually taught me how to tie it. He even gave me, I've got a copy of it, I can't find it anywhere, it's killing me. I know I've got it somewhere. A copy of Ken's book on how to tie it with notes from Fran of how to tie this fly. So what this fly uses is one of those things, Chuck Craft was always known for his, for his ultra suede that he used. Fran Betters was known for orange thread. If you ever look up his patterns, they generally will call for something else. Fran always tied an orange thread. So it's cool. I've actually had a chance to watch some videos of Fran tying. He passed away a few years ago. And to watch this guy tie is just one of those, just getting to watch a master. You realize that, you've got to, no matter what, these guys are good. But at the same time, you can get there. So I'm going to tie this up. I'm going to actually tie it up in a size 10. I'm going to tie up a pretty big usual just so that it's easy to see. So first thing we do, put down a thread base. Okay, you know what? I'm going to loosen up on this. It's a brand new spool of thread and it's super tight on my bobbin. There we go. That's a little bit better tension. Bobbin tension was just too high. It was actually making me think I was going to break the thread just with the bobbin tension. So, cool material that it uses, rabbit's foot. I got a few of these. This is actually a snowshoe rabbit is what is used. This fly is literally orange thread, snowshoe rabbit. Every bit of it is snowshoe rabbit. So that's kind of one of the cool things about this fly. 2, it's a hair wing. 3, it floats like anything. Catskills I have never had a chance to fish them. Dad actually grew up fishing them. So sort of right outside of New York City, and beautiful mountains, beautiful streams, and American fly fishing was basically created there. So a lot of our, classic patterns come out of the Catskills. Catskills dries, the Catskills nymphs, Catskills wets are something that I'm finding. I'm trying to find more of them because they're just beautiful and they look so fishy. But so what we're gonna do, first trick, I'm gonna pull one from Tim Flaggard. So tight lines fly fishing. I think that's what it is. Tight lines fly tying, whatever it is. Tight lines. He puts down a post-it note when he's tying something like this. And you'll see why in a second. So I'm going to go ahead, trim out as close as I can to the, there we go. As close as I can to that skin. I mean, I don't even know if you can see the fact that it's missing a little bit of it. But then we're going to take it, hold it by the tips, and we're going to pull out all the fluff. And we're going to save all that fluff. And now these are not always the most perfect rabbit's feet that I've got. These actually were given to me by Ken. And they were shot in New York State by Ken. So, remember how big of a puffball I had? It is now tiny. And I only have pretty much just the guard hairs. So there's not a whole lot there. I'm actually going to use that for my tail. I'm going to grab, I think I pulled a couple of them out that I needed to keep. There we go. It's going to be a little fluffy on the back. So we're going to want to tie it in. Don't worry about all the stuff flying around. So it got a short little tail. My tail's actually a little bit too short right now, but it's fine. This is the first one I've tied in probably 2 years. It's going to be ugly. That actually would be cool, Brian, because I've also been studying up on flies of the Appalachians. So I've kind of been playing around with looking at, flies from various areas. So the next thing I'm going to do is, remember all that fluff I pulled out? Actually, no, wrong thing. Forgot. See, I told you I was going to make mistakes. Natural bucktail, my opinion, is typically going to be streamers. Not a lot of trout flies use it, and it's because it's so long. It's a great streamer material. Not a great, you know, dry fly, wet fly. So Brian, you did use it, for your wings at one point, didn't you? I seem to remember you'd gotten into using bucktail for your wings. So I am going to say this, guys, this is not a how-to on how to tie this fly. I got to go back and spend some time tying it. But what I want is I'm going to create... Yep, that didn't go the way I wanted it to. Spin that thread so it jumps back. So, now what I've got is a little thing up here that's going to be the, that's actually going to be the wing of this fly. So let's grab some stuff to be able to make dubbing. So all those fluffies, that's not even all of them, but a bunch of the fluffies are right here. And I'm going to use that for the dubbing of this fly. Slide it up. That is the one perk right there of not using wax. So this is a fly that floats amazingly well when tied correctly. I'll give you guys a hint. Right now it ain't tied correctly. I knew I should have tied one of these before I hopped on. I did watch a video though. I watched a video on how to tie this fly. It's a fun little. And I don't see why you have to use snowshoe other than the fact that it's white and it's very hollow. Basically, wow, that is way overexposed. Hold on guys, I'm gonna knock it down so you guys can see. Yeah, way overexposed. So what I've got here is a whole lot of fluff with a wing going straight up. The wing actually should be going kind of more like that. It should be flattened out, and it should be 180 degrees around, which I am not. Like I said, guys, you're kind of getting to watch me play, watch me practice, and you know, this is one of those things where, yep, you know, you gotta keep doing it, and you gotta practice some of these flies, and if you don't ever tie them, you'll break thread. But if you don't ever tie them, they're not always there. So yeah, bucktail, yeah, I've never used bucktail for a wing. I'm trying to think of a trout fly that would use it. Not a whole lot. Like I said, it's a big, more into the streamer category, which is awesome. You know, deceivers, bulkhead deceivers, those are kind of fun. Let's see if I can tie another one of these, but that looks a lot better than that. That one might end up in the trash can, guys. I'm actually going to tie it on a 12 because I've always tied it on 12s. But another fly I'd love to be able to tie. I actually kind of wanted to tie it. I want to tie a few up because I know they're deadly this time of year for brook trout. Fly called a Pickett's pin. Yeah, basically basically a big streamer. Bucktail is used for streamers. It's such a long fiber. Even short bucktail, guys, that's a long fiber. Let me tie this up in a smaller hook size, see if that helps me with tying it better. So one thing about tying dry flies that's kind of funny, bigger is not always easier. It's actually a lot of times easier to tie them up smaller because of the fact, I just dropped a hook, just because of the fact that it just is easier to get proportions right. And oh, I probably didn't talk about this. This is just your standard down eye dry fly hook. Nothing special, nothing crazy. Oh, it's TMCO if you didn't know what TMC usually stands for. I like TMCO hooks for their trout stuff. They tend to be, in my opinion, just a little bit nicer hook. I've also got some connections within of some people that I know at Umpqua who makes TMCO stuff, and just I want to support them. I'm going to tell you something. Me buying a couple of packs a year is not going to keep Umpqua in business, but I'm still supporting friends. You know, and that's the thing. A lot of times with this stuff, with fly tying, it's supporting your friends. So, you know, Brian talks about going over to Mossy Creek, and why? Because the guys are our friends. We've got Andy here from Mossy. You know, Mossy Creek they're our friends. Where did I put my... I'm missing... Oh, there's my rabbit's foot. Couldn't find my lucky rabbit's foot that apparently was not lucky for the rabbit. Put down my thread base. But yeah, I'm just gonna, you know, supporting friends. It's what I like to do. Let's grab some from the... Grab some hair. So really, when you do this, Ken taught me that you should use as much hair on the dubbing as you can. So I'm going to make the tail almost the length of the body. That tells me I need to tie it in probably back here. Nope, a little bit further. There we go. I'm going to tie in a longer tail than I did last time. There, that looks a lot better. So, this stuff, as if you can tell, and that's one thing, is that this is a white material. It's a pretty white material. It is gonna reflect all the light that I got a little too much. So I'm gonna f-stop down a little bit, make it a little easier to see. So now I need to do a little bit more to do for the wing. But Jonathan, one thing about the going back to the bucktail, if anybody ever offers me bucktail, I'm still gonna take it. It's hard to not have too much bucktail because every bucktail is gonna be a little bit different in the fibers, and you'll find that various flies need different fibers. A clouser, you want kind of curly, kinky fibers. You know, you start looking at some of the musky flies, you want the longest, straightest fiber possible. So it's just whatever you can get. So let me go ahead, and I've got another piece. Spin it around. You want this facing forward. So what we're tying in here is quite literally a hair wing. This is kind of the first step in learning how to tie hair wings with the hardest material in the world to tie with. One thing, whenever when we go back to New Year, I do have a pattern I'm going to tie. I think Brian and I are putting it together, whether or not we're going to be able to do it. But I want to tie up some stuff with some hair wings in it. So you guys can learn, because hair wings are fun, hair wings are cool. So again, we want body length. About a third of the way, well, 2 or 3 eye lengths back. I'm back a little bit too far. Soft wrap, getting progressively harder. Tie in. Now, here's a fun little trick to get your bodies as smooth as possible. You want those 2 ramps. You want the ramp from the downward ramp from the tail, and the downward ramp from the head to kind of match up. It'll help give you a smoother body. Gotta turn and look at the fly from the front. Okay, yep, that's good. So when somebody comes up with a vise that not only rotates around like this, but rotates forward to back, that'd be awesome. I don't know if I'm going to want to pay for something that's got all of those features to them. Because I was pricing out vices the other day. Yeah, I mean, we can do some stuff. We'll do some stuff kind of closer to spring, Jonathan. You know, right now, well, maybe we should do some stuff. I don't have any bucktails around me, to be honest. I didn't bring any bucktails over. So, we're gonna dubbing wax. Just a wee bit of wax, as Davey McPhail would say. So if you don't know who Davey McPhail is, he's an awesome fly tyer out of Scotland, if I remember right. Well, it's McPhail, I'm going to assume Scotland. And he does some really cool stuff. And one of the cool things with him is he does both American and kind of European style flies. So you can kind of learn how other parts of the world do it slightly differently. And he is a tyer for a specific model or specific brand of hook. So that is one thing about him. Just to give you a warning, he will only speak of that brand. It's not a pad brand. They do a lot of hooks that you probably use and you don't even realize it. Let's just put it this way. Back in my old job, I had a catalog to their company to give you an idea of the hooks. Need just a little bit more. I thought I had enough. Maybe a little fatter of a body on a usual than you should be using for the usual, but oh well. Ken's not here to tell me I did it wrong. Too much. But, I mean, just, guys, this is one of those patterns. That thing is ugly. That thing is fuzzy. And that is one thing, when tying for brook trout especially, they like fuzzy flies. Yeah, Brian's right, you know. We did do a lot with bucktail earlier this year. We kind of gotten away from it just because we started running out of patterns that use it. So, little whip finish. Now notice I don't put head cement on most of my flies. I don't really care if they die. That's not my thing. That's a much better usual. A little bit fatter, a little bit fuzzy. But if you look at how that wing is kind of a little bit forward and up. So what that fly is going to do is it's going to sit on the water and it's just going to grab fish's attention and it floats like a cork. So, and with it being white, makes it fairly easy to see unless you're in a foam line. The day I figure out how to dye some of these feet yellow, I probably will so I can do a yellow wing. But you know, till that day, I don't know. Yep. So, well, there's another one. I'll show you guys kind of what happens when I haven't tied a fly in a while. And the first one always ends up looking really ugly. It'll be the one in my hand. And the one on the hackle pliers is the newer one. And see how they get a little bit better. As you tie, usually the first one, if you haven't tied a specific fly in a while, first one's going to be ugly. First couple are going to be ugly. When I talk to my professional tying friends, they usually tell me that. They're like, hey, look, even our flies are ugly. we don't ever show you. So, yep, I'll tie up a couple more of these and maybe go in and do a little bit of other stuff. So, looks like I've apparently been tying for about an hour. Cool. Tie up a few more of these. These are a good midwinter fly. They're super fuzzy. Brian likes to fish brook trout in the middle of winter even with dry flies. I don't, but hey, that's fine. Maybe I got to learn from him. You know, that's one of the things. Always can learn from other people. So by the way, if you ever watch other tyers tie this fly, generally they're going to tie it with white thread because it's not going to show through. By the way, guys, you can buy snowshoe hair feet. You can pick those up. Okay, well, happy holidays, Brian. Good to see you. But yeah, you can pick up hare's feet. Just good luck finding them at a local shop. I hate to say it, that's going to be a giant online order. All right. So yeah. What time is it? Oh, it's 3 o'clock. Cool. So yeah, if you've joined us a little late, honestly guys, I've been sitting around all day. I kind of needed something to do, so I figured I'd tie some flies and hop on and chat with you guys and play around with camera angles. And well, this isn't much of a new camera angle. I had to go back because I didn't like it when I first hooked it up. But playing around with the new mic, and no, it was not a Christmas gift. It was actually something I've had for a while. So waxing up my thread. Like I said, guys, that stuff will live forever. I think I've had that thing of wax for 6 or 7 years, and I've hardly used any of it at this point. So if you're ever having challenges with dubbing, that's one trick. Jonathan, I understand. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of running into that too. You know, trips due to COVID getting canceled. This year is the first year in many that I have not done a Western Virginia trip. I traditionally get out to the western part of the state at least a couple of times a year. This year, not even once. Love to get out to the southwestern corner of the state. Absolutely gorgeous fishing down there. Love to get up near Harrisonburg too and see Andy. Haven't seen him in forever. So, but you know, kind of with COVID, I'm not going anywhere, guys. I'm trying to stay as local as I can. I was going to do a trip Was going to do a trip to Buffalo. That kind of got canceled. Had an opportunity to get down southwestern corner of the state and said, I don't want to take that risk. Luckily for me, I've not had any COVID scares really, but I've got enough friends who have had them that no, I don't want to do that. All right. There we go. That one looks a lot better. See how they keep getting better. So yeah, guys, when you see us do live streams and you think, you sit there and you see, well, okay, that looks really good. That must be their first time. No, I've typically tied at least 7 or 8 of that fly. You usually tell when I haven't because things don't go right. But that's kind of the key to all this, is just to practice and to sit down and tie. Anybody getting into tying, anybody who just had, is questioning some of their tying skills, pick a fly, tie a dozen of it, and lay them out. It's one thing I love to do, is just lay them out and look at them as I'm going to see how, how it's changed. And you can really see how you get better while you're doing it. So cool thing, I'll see if you guys can, let's see if it'll. So that wing is just a little bit too flat. Gotta widen it out. But that wing, it's gonna stick up, and that's what I'm gonna be looking at in the water. So this thing is really just a fuzzy fly. One thing I probably could do, trim off a little bit off the bottom. That looks even better. So, yep, so I think I'm gonna tie up 1 or 2 more flies and then call it a day. Actually gonna give me 1 second, I gotta run and grab something. I realized I forgot something I wanted. All right, I'm back. Let's see how many people I lose with this fly. We're gonna tie a Tenkara fly. If anybody can't tell, I've been kind of in that frame of mind. It's that time of year where I'm typically carrying a Tenkara rod. Gonna tie up a kabari. This one, I have actually heard its name get named the Pumpkin Spice Kabari. I laughed when I heard it called that. So a kabari is a soft hackle, sort of. Typically it's a Japanese style of fly, very simple. Very simple. Lay down thread base. I'm going to use black for the thread. I haven't had that one already spooled up. I will say, guys, I think my next major purchase in fly tying is actually going to be a whole pile of bobbins, so all my thread can be on bobbins already. So here's where the name Pumpkin Spice Kabari comes from. This being on a 10, I think I'm going to go with 2. So as everyone knows, okay, this is literally just that same yarn that I used for tying up the CK nymph. Same yarn. Traditionally, this fly would actually be tied with a wool yarn. But yeah, I don't have any wool yarn. I don't feel like buying wool yarn. I did just find a new supplier of it, but again, this Antron yarn does just fine. So it is so kabaris are super simple. They're I mean, think about it this way. Tenkara is from the 14 to 1500s, this style of fly fishing. And these flies, the basics of them, are actually from that same time period. You know, yeah, they didn't have hooks like we've got today. But still, I mean, the basics are there. So what I'm going to grab is out of my woolly bugger hackle, just grab a brown hackle. Apparently I got an email. Who likes me? Oop, I just hit my camera. So this is going to be a dry fly version of a kabari. A bunch of hackle on it. Andy, if you're still out there, I'm sure Tom Rosenbauer's already yelling at me. Or not Tom Rosenbauer, Tom Sadler. Sorry, I've been watching Rosenbauer videos lately. That's it. Kind of a quick and ugly one, but you know, it's fine, it'll work. Tied up on a heavy wet nymph hook, so this one will not float. But this style of fly is not intended to. It's supposed to be a wet fly, and you're supposed to fish it on a tight line. So don't fish underneath an indicator. And you're supposed to kind of, going through the water, kind of jig it. Just kind of give it a little pulls like this. Going through the water. Flies like these do catch a lot of fish, and they're simple. Again, I know you guys hear it from me all the time. Simple, simple. That is what I try to do all the time. I'm not a big on, you know, hey, let's tie a fly with 20 different materials. No. Let's tie a fly, it takes an hour. No. I don't have the patience for an hour-long fly. But something like this, I can tie up pretty quick. I can fill up a box, and I can go get out on the water. And this is another pattern. Guys, go throw that to bluegill once the time comes. And literally, guys, I just use Antron yarn. I didn't use any, you know, crazy special fly tying materials. I didn't use anything, you know, that's hard to get. I literally used woolly bugger hackle that I happen to have. I didn't even use, you know, and then I used thread and a hook. I just went and grabbed a hook. Yeah, I'm using the Tactical Barbless heavyweight nymph hook just because I have it in size 10 and I kind of like it. Kabaris traditionally are actually tied to 12 because there's a theory on that. Size 12 is like the perfect size for trout to always want to be grabbing. Think of them as like Snickers, like snack bite things. You know, you could be full, but if you put one in front of somebody, they're probably going to eat it. Or you could be really hungry and you put one in front of somebody and they're probably going to eat it because it's still something. So it's like that perfect size. It's not too small to be like, is that really worth it? And it's not too big to be like, oh, I'm full, I don't want to eat anything. 12 is traditionally the correct size for these. I like to tie them in a 10. But other than that, I just wanted to kind of hang out with you guys a little bit this afternoon. Gonna kind of call it a day. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Have a happy holiday. I understand we can't all be with our families the way we want to be. I will give a little hint. You know, if you've got some way, you know, Facebook Messenger, if you actually still do Facebook, that sort of thing, you can still be with your family. It's just not, you know, it's not exactly the same. I'm actually doing that tomorrow with my family. And, you know, just, you know, enjoy the holiday as best you can. This is a weird year. It's coming to an end. Some things are hopefully on the horizon, going to be changing. We're hoping that Project Healing Waters is going to let us start, you know, really being able to go out again. I don't know when. I'm going to guess, you know, it'll be a little while. Just with COVID numbers, it's going to be a little while. But look for Brian's email to start early next year. Not sure what we're going to do. I think I'm actually starting off. I've got to decide what I'm going to tie. And we're going to have some fun in a few weeks. So have everyone have a Merry Christmas, and looking forward to seeing everyone next year. Have a good one. Bye.